In the quiet, affluent suburb of Westfield, New Jersey, the List family home at 431 Hillside Avenue stood as a monument to the American dream. John List, a mild-mannered accountant and devout Lutheran, lived there with his wife, Helen, his mother, Alma, and his 3 children, Patricia, Frederick, and John Jr. They were a picture of respectability, a family rooted in faith and community. But on November 9th, 1971, that perfect facade was shattered by a crime so cold and calculated it would haunt the nation for decades. This is the story of a man who believed he was saving his family's souls by sending them to heaven before vanishing into thin air. Before we dive into the chilling details of this case, take a moment to comment, like, share, and subscribe to the Calendar of Crime so you don't miss future episodes. Your support helps us uncover more of history's darkest days. The murders were meticulously planned. John List, facing severe financial ruin and fearing his family would turn away from God due to their impending poverty, decided on a horrific solution. On November 9th, he systematically shot his wife, Helen, his mother, Alma, and his 3 children. He carried out the killings over several hours, starting with Helen and Alma, then waiting for his children to return home from school. He placed their bodies on sleeping bags in the ballroom of the mansion, covered their faces, and even turned on the radio to play religious music. Before leaving, he wrote a chilling 5-page letter to his pastor, explaining his actions as a necessary evil to save their souls from the moral decay he saw in the world. List's plan for his own escape was equally methodical. He cut his own image out of every family photo, meticulously cleaned up the crime scenes, and set the thermostat to a low temperature to slow decomposition. He then contacted the children's schools and part-time jobs, claiming the family would be visiting Helen's sick mother out of state for an extended period. He stopped the milk and mail deliveries. Finally, he drove to John F. Kennedy Airport, abandoned his car, and disappeared. The house remained silent, the lights on timers, for nearly a month. The List family's absence finally raised suspicion. Neighbors noticed the lights were always on, but no one was ever seen. On December 7th, 1971, a concerned relative called the police. When authorities entered the house, they were met with the gruesome scene in the ballroom. The cold temperatures had preserved the bodies, but the sheer scale of the tragedy was overwhelming. The 5-page letter was found, immediately identifying John List as the killer. A massive manhunt began, but List had vanished without a trace, leaving behind a $300,000 mansion and a trail of unanswered questions. For 18 years, John List lived a new life. He adopted the name Robert Clark, moved to Denver, Colorado, and eventually remarried. He worked as an accountant, maintaining the same quiet religious demeanor he had in New Jersey. He believed he had successfully escaped justice. The case went cold, becoming one of America's most frustrating unsolved mysteries. The only hope was the passage of time and the possibility of a mistake. The case was revived when it was featured on the television show America's Most Wanted. Forensic sculptor Frank Bender was commissioned to create a bust showing what John List might look like 18 years later. The bust, which featured a receding hairline and a slightly heavier build, was eerily accurate. A woman in Richmond, Virginia, recognized the bust as her neighbor, Bob Clark. A tip was called in, and on June 1, 1989, John List was arrested in his new life. His fingerprints confirmed his identity. List confessed to the murders, maintaining that his motive was to save his family from poverty and moral corruption. He claimed he was giving them a ticket to heaven. The jury, however, rejected his plea of insanity. In 1990, John List was convicted on 5 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to 5 consecutive life terms. He showed little remorse, stating he felt he had done the right thing. John List died in prison in 2008 at the age of 82. The John List murders remain a chilling example of the dark side of the American dream and the terrifying lengths to which a man will go when his carefully constructed world collapses. The case also stands as a testament to the power of forensic art and the enduring hope for justice no matter how long it takes. Thanks for watching. Please comment, share, like, and subscribe for future episodes from the Calendar of Crime.